A student from our very own Fluency Circle English community recently asked me, Andrea, can you recommend an exercise that I can do for only 5 minutes a day that would have a big impact on my English? So I said, that's an interesting question. You know, I was able to give him some ideas just off the top of my head, but I also said that if he gave me some time to think about it, I could probably come up with more ideas. I also thought I could ask my team for some extra ideas because I'm sure they'd all have some creative 5-minute exercise ideas to share. After all, they're all language learners. Later in this video, I'll let them speak to you, so stick around because I think their tips are amazing. Before we get into the lesson, myself, Ethan, and the whole Real Life English team would be honoured to accompany you on your journey to English fluency. Let's go on this adventure together, so please do 2 things. Give this video a like, and 2, if you're new around here, subscribe to the channel. This way you'll make sure you see the next lesson. If you also hit the bell, you'll make extra sure you don't miss it. Okay, so one important thing to keep in mind with these powerful 5-minute exercises is that they are by no means a replacement for any of the other more time-consuming practice or learning that you might already be doing. If that, whatever it is, has been giving you results, that's great. Keep at it and don't stop. What you can do with these powerful 5-minute exercises is add them on top of whatever you're doing. It's going to complement your existing practice or study routine. Let's get to them. The first idea for a 5-minute exercise is one that involves an app, Memrise. This is an app that specializes in the science of memory and forgetting. So when you learn a new word or expression, put it into your Memrise, then let the app, precisely its spaced repetition technology, do the work. What this means is that the app will ask you to review a previous learned item based on the forgetting curve. Let me explain how that works. Let's say you just learned a new phrase, all of a sudden, for example, and you put it into your Memrise. Based on the forgetting curve, the app knows you're likely to forget that new phrase one day after learning it. So it'll send you a reminder of that phrase the next day so that you don't forget it. Then you'll get another reminder on the 3rd day, on the 6th day, and on the 10th day. Then that interval increases. The app will ask you to review the word or phrase after a month, then after 3 months. This whole process might take more than 5 minutes to set up, but after that, it'll take just a few moments to review the vocabulary that you learned previously. So in addition to just reviewing, keep in mind these 2 extra things that have worked for me when learning Spanish and that you could include in your Memrise learning routine. Say the words out loud. I've always felt that this helped me reinforce my memory of the new word or phrase. Plus, this helps you create practice for the pronunciation of it. Prioritize learning word chunks rather than individual words. Your newly learned phrase, all of a sudden, is a chunk that is more deeply learned as a unit of meaning rather than as the sum of its parts. This is important for the pronunciation of it as well. You'll learn this not as all of a sudden with emphasis on each word, but rather as one single all of a sudden. Now, with our Fluent with Friends course, you get access to Memrise to help you learn and remember the vocabulary in each lesson so that you can confidently use it when speaking and understanding it when listening. Not only this, but you'll receive PDF power lessons for each of the 48 lessons and access to our Fluency Circle global community so that you're never alone in your language journey. But the best part is, it's free. So you can try it right now by clicking up here or the link down below. Moving on, another highly impactful 5-minute daily exercise you can do, and maybe you've heard me talk about in the past, is shadowing or mimicking. Through the power of repeating what a model speaker says, you most noticeably improve your pronunciation and things like intonation and connected speech. But I also think you can reinforce grammar patterns and consolidate vocabulary. Here is how it works. Choose a model speaker you like. One who maybe you like how they speak or their accent. There could be many different speakers too, like if you choose to shadow or mimic a Friends episode. Now you shadow what they say. This means while they're speaking, you'll repeat what they're saying. Try copying everything, from pronunciation to inflections in their voice, tone, intonation, etc. It'd be great if you can also imitate their emotions. That's shadowing in a nutshell. Mimicking is different in that you listen to someone speak, then pause the video, and then repeat what they said. Again, imitate their pronunciation, inflections, intonation, and if you'd like, their emotions as well. Personally, I felt this process is interesting and fun to do, but only if you don't do it for too long, otherwise it starts to feel boring. But if it's just for 5 minutes every day, you can still get the best out of it and have a lot of fun with it. The reason why this method is so loved by many and recommended so much by teachers and language learners alike is because it definitely produces results. I think this is because you can focus 100% on the production aspect of the language. Say you mimic this sentence, all of a sudden we heard a loud noise. When you do it, you can focus on pronouncing each sound correctly, the linked features of it, the stress, and so on. That's where all your mental power is focused. But in a non-mimicking scenario, when you have to say this sentence yourself, it's like 50% of your brain power is focused on remembering the words, structuring the sentence correctly, interacting with the person you're talking to, etc. Then only the remaining 50% is focused on how you say it, your pronunciation, intonation, etc. Because of this, it's not possible to completely focus on polishing your pronunciation. So the next 5-minute exercise is going to help your listening comprehension. It is transcribing. Now, I have never actually done this myself, but I've heard from a few people in the RealLife English team that this was huge for them when they did it. In fact, I'll let Max explain how transcribing had an incredible effect on his listening comprehension.
That's right, for a while transcription was actually part of my job. We've now switched to software transcription, but before I had to actually manually transcribe the RealLife English podcast episodes. And what I would do basically is just play a bit of audio, pause, and transcribe. For the most part, this was fairly easy. However, there were some parts that were particularly challenging, and this was when Ethan or Justin spoke too fast and basically just couldn't recognize what they were saying. So what I had to do was to slow down the audio a little bit, or even sometimes just listen to it a few times until I got it. And just the practice of doing this, I felt had a big impact on my listening comprehension. And the way I realized this is one time I asked a friend who was a more advanced English learner than I was at the time. I knew he had a better listening comprehension, a better ear than I had at the time. And so I asked him to actually help me with the process of transcribing the podcast. The parts that he found challenging, I realized I was not having trouble actually transcribing those parts. So I realized that my ear had developed further than the level he was at the time. So that's how I realized how powerful the practice of transcribing can be. And so this is the reason why I think this is an ideal, quick, 5-minute daily exercise that anyone can do and can safely expect big results from.
And Max isn't the only one that swears by transcribing. A lot of people do. An alternative to this that's actually quite a bit easier to do and that still conserves some of the benefits is doing a watch, read, watch again exercise. Here's how it works. Step 1. Take any stretch of audio or video that you can get a transcript for. It could be a 30-second clip from an episode of your favorite TV show. Watch it, listen to it, say 30 seconds of it without subtitles or without looking at the transcript. Don't do anything but just watch or listen. Step 2. Take that same 30-second clip and watch it while following the transcription. You'll notice if the 30-second clip is the right level of difficulty that with the help of the transcript, it is much clearer. You can now hear the words that you previously perhaps missed. Step 3. Watch the same clip, but this time without the help of the transcript. You'll notice that the difference in your comprehension is jaw-dropping. This is what we call the watch, read, watch again method. If you're part of the Fluency Circle, you may know 𝗙𝗔𝗦𝗧𝗘𝗥𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗦𝗦. This is what she suggested for 5-minute exercises.
Okay, what you can do if you only have 5 minutes a day to work on your English vocabulary. This is what I did. Going to bed, I tried to reflect on my day. What I did, what I learned, what people I met, maybe even talk about my feelings I had that day. I also used to plan the next day. And this is, I can tell you, an effective way to boost your vocabulary.
In addition to what he said about transcribing audio, Max suggested a tip for working on your fluency.
Another idea for a 5-minute daily exercise, I think is more for advanced English learners, but if you're an intermediate or a beginner, I think you can give it a go and see how it goes. And this exercise is very challenging, but it's very fun at the same time. And what you have to do is tune in to a talk show on the radio in your native language and live translate what they're saying. You could either do it simultaneously or maybe just let them speak and then translate what they're saying. Again, it's very challenging, but is all kinds of fun, and you get some good practice, and it pushes you to think on your feet, and I think it activates that fluency, right?
Now, Izzy had this idea, which I know can be a game changer to improve your writing skills in English.
Do you feel like you always struggle to create and establish new habits? Well, maybe what you actually need is just a little bit more of awareness, being aware of what's really going on with yourself. So here's what I recommend you do every day at the end of the day. You're going to ask yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, what went well? What are the things that worked for you? Number 2, what didn't go well? And number 3, how to improve. So by asking yourself these 3 questions, you're just going to be aware of what's working and what can you do more of. 2, what's not working. Just recognize those things, being honest with yourself. And then 3, have a real plan. Create a real plan on how to improve, how to overcome those issues. And by doing this, you're going to be holding yourself accountable every day and just be making more progress more consistently in your learning.
Next up is Diego. Take a look at his tips for improving your pronunciation and speaking by only doing this 5 minutes a day.
Hey there, this is Diego here. Something that I do that really helps me with my speaking and that I can do for just about 5 minutes a day is singing. I love music. I'm a big fan of rock and hip hop. However, I find it easier to sing rock because I have been listening to it since I was a kid. As for hip hop, I started listening to it later in my life. So I go for hip hop with my practices. I choose a song and sing just a verse or 2 of it until I have mastered the intonation and cadence for those verses. If I keep doing it consistently, I'm able to sing the whole song in no time. And it's noticeable how my speaking improves over time.
Finally, here's Lucas's idea for a 5-minute daily exercise.
Hello everybody. So one exercise that I've developed daily to develop my fluency and my pronunciation skills was picking an episode of a podcast and choosing a specific part of it. Maybe you like how the speaker is talking at that specific time, and you repeat it over and over again. You don't have to be very accurate, but you have to try to copy the intonation and pronunciation as it is.
Let me know down in the comments which of these 5-minute exercises the Real Life English team and I shared you think would be best for improving your English. Have you ever done any other impactful 5-minute daily exercises that we didn't mention in this lesson? I'd love to read about your experience. You've made it this far in the lesson. Congratulations. It shows you're very committed to improving your English. Here's another lesson that will help you do that. We know how important daily practice is, and especially conversation practice. However, you might not always have the opportunity to speak with someone in English. If that's your case, watch this lesson on how you can learn and practice English at home alone.